resurfaced video of the great, rest in peace, legendary Pimp C, saying something I've been saying a long time on this channel about regional bias and how regional bias is killing the game. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna play the video. Also, we're gonna go review parts of a video on a Manny and from the Manny and Juvie show with Big Gipp. And I want to send a big shout out to the Manny and Juvie show because that is what a hip hop, that is a shining example of a genuinely good hip hop podcast from former art, well, still working artists, where they talk about the music and they document the music and put good game along with it, not gossip about a bunch of bullshit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get together right now. We're gonna start in about 1 minute and we're gonna talk about it. All right, give us 1 minute and let's get it in. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. We about to talk about it. But before we get to talking about it, make sure you hit up bamfamilytree.org. See what we doing. Check out the mission. Look at what we're building. And then see what we're putting together at bamfamilytree.org. And then go to Incense and Ashtrays. I got my last blog up about Lauryn Hill. We about to drop another blog probably later today or tomorrow. I'm working on it. I just wanted to be right. Dropping another blog that's in relationship to this past Sunday's class that we did on the history of R&B and the clear lineage from bebop to melodic hip hop and neo soul, because it was the bebop musicians that created acid jazz funk that blended bebop with James Brown. And that blend gave us Roy Ayers, it gave us Donald Byrd, it gave us Bobby Humphrey, and the people that Q-Tip, Pete Rock, Kanye sampled in the melodic and conscious hip hop sector. So we broke that all the way down in class yesterday. If you're not part of the Music University on Patreon, you want to be a part of that, because that's where you get the intricate details, notes, and cited sources for my information. But I'll do a blog. I'll also do a blog here on Incense and Ashtrays, drawing that connection, because everybody likes to go around. Everybody likes to go around talking about what's going on, but they don't want to talk about what's going on. And I'm gonna say this also. If you got, hey, who's it? Sam 232-100. If you don't like what I'm saying, get the fuck out of here. Nothing worse to me than a man that bitches all the time. I'd rather not have you around than be around sounding like a bitch. All right? But we about to talk about this, because we about to talk about this today, because this is a video that I saw come back up with Pimp C. I was watching Big Gipp on the podcast of Manny Fresh, and then right after I saw that, I saw this clip with Pimp C. And so I wanted to talk about this because I want to really show that there's always been a kinship connectedness between California and the South. There's always been a good relationship between us musically. And so we're here to talk about that relationship, and also to point out that when I purposely talk about New York, I have a purpose for doing it. And you grown men bitching about it won't change it. As a matter of fact, it might make me increase it so I can make sure I can show the heightened contradictions. That, you know, I want to heighten the contradictions. I want people to see what it is and be able to pinpoint exactly where our history is being distorted and where it's coming from. Because you can't fix it overall if you don't point out where the problem is coming from. The problem when it comes to hip hop being universal, the problem when it comes to hip hop being everybody's culture, that shit's coming from one place. What's up, Netta J? That's coming from one place. And we want to talk about it. And yeah, we're going to talk about it as much as we want to talk about it. And if you don't like us talking about it, you still watching. All right, so let's go. So I'm going to play this video from Pimp C. And then I'm going to play it all the way through. And then we're going to come back and then we are going to talk about it. You said, keep going on them sassy ass New Yorkers, right? I don't respect sassy niggas, so yeah, I'm going at it. Let's go.
I don't give a fuck about hip hop because I ain't never made none of that shit. The niggas been saying we wasn't real hip hop from the beginning of time. Yeah. They said we wasn't real hip hop because we don't have no trains and no backpack. And one leg our pants ain't rolled up to our knee and shit. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, after a motherfucker tell you something for so long and let you know they don't want you, know what I'm saying? After a while, nigga don't want to be down to bitch ass niggas no more, know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we got our own shit down here. A long time ago, we had our own music. The street military was putting it down. You know what I'm talking about? And when Willie D and them was coming down and talking country and letting they nuts hang, you know, that's when I crashed on or something that was special. And I ain't never looked back on them niggas, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause if it wasn't for us, them niggas wouldn't have been able to take no Fresh Fest tour. They wouldn't have been able to sell all them goddamn records they sold in the 80s if it wasn't for the South and the Midwest. You motherfucking niggas didn't sell all them records in New York. I know you didn't. And you niggas wouldn't have been able to take no tour if it wasn't for the rest of the country. You know, niggas tried to shit on us, man. You know, me to go down south, need to shit your mouth. You know, I'm talking about shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, y'all ain't real hip-hop down there. Bitch ass nigga, well, guess what? We ain't real hip-hop down here, nigga. Nigga, stay up there where you at. With the fun-ass cars and your fun-ass houses, nigga. You down here having things, nigga. Cost of living good down here in Texas. Nigga, I been driving Cadillacs since I was 15 years old, bitch. Get your mind on your shit. You know what I'm talking about? When you bell read. And I ain't mad at nobody, because you know what? The real rappers on the East that get money ain't hate. I just did a song with Big Daddy Kane and Kool G Rap. I go that on there. It's gonna be on the new UUK album. But what I'm saying is, I don't hear the Dipset niggas crying about none of that shit. I don't hear Jay-Z crying. I think I gotta do with me until I ain't catching them. But you know who crying? No, them bitch ass niggas that can't sell no records, man. They crying because they can't sell no records right now. Because Mike Jones got 15 cars, man, and 22 karat diamond in his ring, man. Get your mind on your shit. You can have some too. You gotta come down here and buy you some, bitch. I'm talking about straight business, man. I know they don't like me. They be all on the internet talking about the pimp. Pimp rap like he writing nursery rhyme. Pimp this and pimp that. You know what though, bitch? Tell you put your real motherfucking address and your phone number on that shit. You ain't saying nothing, nigga. Hide behind them email address. You a hoe. You know what I'm talking about? I'm in New York every other week on the slab. I'm in Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan. You know what I'm talking about? I'm all the way up and all the way around that motherfucker. You nigga friendly as a box of puppets. You know what I'm talking about? Get up off the bullshit, man. But when you come down here, niggas treat y'all with respect, man. Come down here, try to run through a nigga hole and shit. Try to disrespect a nigga down here, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna die with that bullshit, man. Nigga gonna get that jury out you. I'm telling you, man.
This nigga said he nicer than a box full of puppies. Oh, Pimp always had a way of putting things together, man. I've always appreciated. I've always like, I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe this is my regional bias, but the people, if you want to get some wisdom, talk to you can talk to black people nationwide, but it sounds best when you talk to a brother with the experience from the South. It's something about the way you Southern cats transmit wisdom. When y'all got some wisdom in you to transmit, man, that shit come out better than any other part of the country. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Ain't nobody imparting wisdom smoother than a Southern nigga with wisdom. Problem is, the last people of the last, say, that entered school in the 90s and the 2000s, no disrespect, but a lot of you niggas is dumb as fuck. It ain't y'all fault. It's President Bush's fault for that No Child Left Behind thing that y'all had to go through, but it is what it is. But you get a cat that went outside and they from the South and they imparting wisdom, I don't care what nobody say. It's just wisdom come out better from cats from the South. I gotta concede that. But this is a long-standing issue that we've been talking about here on this channel a lot. And yeah, I do talk about it a lot, and I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm the only person that talks about this stuff as bluntly as I do. It's crazy how it's out there. Ain't nobody else on a channel talking like this, not missing words consistently and giving you factual information and evidence to support it. And so a lot of people cry. Like I was Well, a part that made me bring this up was I was looking for the video and I couldn't find it. It was in my bookmarks. They were talking about on the Joe Budden show, they were talking about Big Gipp. And dude was like, man, but yeah, he cool, man, but he be hating on New York, man. And Big Gipp don't do nothing but talk wisdom. See, there's a thing that's gonna be needed to restore our musical traditions and our music because our musical traditions have been really, they've been compromised. You know, our formulas, a lot of our formulas, a lot of things that made our music great, a lot of that's been compromised. And the only way to get that back, is through our communication and us talking to each other again and working together again and not being so regionalized. We X out everybody else that played a part. We need to be secure enough in ourselves and in our regions to show love to other regions and to support other regions, because our music is at its best when we all work together, when we support each other. Music was every bit as regional in jazz as it is hip hop. One second. Okay, here we go. I had to put this shit up on Twitter. I forgot to tweet that we on right now. Make sure y'all share that we on Twitter. Make sure y'all share that we live right now. But it's important that our music works together. Music was every bit as regionalized in jazz, in blues, in country, in R&B, in funk, in disco. Not necessarily disco. Disco was more open, but funk was every bit as regional. You had your Memphis funk, you had your New Orleans funk, your LA funk, your Bay Area funk, your Midwest funk, Dayton funk, Cincinnati funk. You had your Virginia funk, your New York funk, your disco funk. We've always had regional sounds. But when our music was good, when it was at its best, when it was optimal, we always had acknowledgement, and we've acknowledged the differences while still working together and not gatekeeping regions. Regional gatekeeping help. We got to ask ourselves, how does a Drake get to the top of black music? You got to ask yourself, if part of hip hop is dropping the knowledge, how did a motherfucker that ain't never dropped knowledge get to the top? Through a lot of infighting, regional gatekeeping, not letting the next great get through because you want to keep your spot, not acknowledging somebody else because he lives on across a state line, not wanting somebody to get through because they live in a different borough than you. That shit killed hip hop. Hip hop was in a strong space in around 2000. Even though it was kind of waning, it wasn't where it was in 94. Hip hop was in this best space in 94. 94 is probably the prime. That's probably when it was at its zenith in 94. But also listen to what Pimp C said. He said Kane didn't do that. I've always said that when you're dealing with that 80s class out in New York, they weren't necessarily like that. Public Enemy wasn't like that. Rakim wasn't like that. LL wasn't like that. It wasn't like that in the 80s. A lot of that stuff came in when those magazines came in. Source Magazine and Vibe Magazine. Those two magazines, but mainly Source, because Vibe was more R&B. Vibe was, even though they played with the East Coast, West Coast beef, Vibe was still R&B based. Source was hip hop based. When you're dealing with the early 90s and this stuff started to come, that's when this shit started to get louder and louder and louder. And it affected a lot of artists. Phil said, he said, gatekeeping is like oxygen for New Yorkers. I wish they kept that same energy for non-black Americans. Real talk. Yeah, 80s New York rappers didn't do that. Even like early 90s. Like, you don't hear like Tribe don't be on that shit. Q-Tip don't be on that. Ali Shaheed Muhammad, he don't be on that. Them early 90s cats wasn't on that. Late 80s and early 90s. They weren't on that. Them Source mic ratings. Yeah. All that. Yep. But you see where Pimp C is coming from. So when I have these discussions, I like having shows like this, because what I'm talking about when I have these conversations, you really get to see that this ain't coming from nowhere. This isn't, because what happened is, this is what happened. And I'll always get an apologist calling in, and that's fine, whatever. I don't need nobody calling in being an apologist, because I understand it ain't everybody. I understand that. But being although I'll acknowledge some of the points that people who apologize make, I'm still going to have these conversations, because you got to keep drumming up. These conversations have been one-sided for 30 years. Think about that, y'all. These conversations have been one-sided for the most part for about 30 years. Most people, even though they see what's going on, they don't really say nothing, because they'd be like, yeah, whatever. I just want to make my bread. Yeah, I remember that. In 94, when New York niggas booed Outkast for winning Best Rap Group. Like, that's when they said, South got something to say. Was that the next year? Well, that was 96 when they did South got something. Was that 90s? Or was that 94? That was 94, wasn't it? 95? But yeah, like, to us, man, we like, that was weird. We fuck with Outkast out here, for real. I was looking like, how can you not like Outkast? How can you not show love for Outkast? Like, what world is we in right now? But what we're doing is we're shining a bright light. We're shining a bright light on the region that says Jamaicans helped create hip hop. Yeah, 95. Yeah, okay, something like it. Because this whole hip hop comes from anywhere other than Black American culture is a major problem. And anybody that come in my world over here on this page telling me to stop talking about it, I'm gonna first ask to see your receipts in you gatekeeping hip hop for the larger Black American culture. If you ain't got no receipts to prove you jumping around and you been just as active doing that, you can get the fuck out of my chat room. I'm dead serious when it comes to that. Here we go. Look for the screenshot. Was it 119? 114. I want to come over here to this episode of Manny and Juvie. Them talking about, them talking about the music. Let me see here. This is Gipp and Manny and them talking about the relationship in the sounds in the different regions. Yeah, this whole situation, the West. So, I mean, if we gonna talk the story of hip hop, we gotta first start with telling the whole story, East and West, and we gotta tell where they got it from. I don't have my phone line open, but let me just see who this is.
Hey.
What's up, caller? I'm not taking calls yet, but what's on your mind?
Okay, no. I'll just let this is James Webb out of Oakland, California, man. I watch you all the time. I just was calling because I'm looking at your video about the Southern Soul, and I was want to ask you about your opinion on Southern Soul because I like it, and we in the West in California don't really get to hear the artists. I was like a person with your platform, but you promote more of the Southern Soul artists. But that's it. I'm looking at you right now on YouTube, man.
All right, I get to that. I'm gonna stick to what I'm talking about here, but I get to that. All right.
Okay. All right.
I've already done shows promoting Southern Soul. I've already done shows promoting that, and I've also been to shows. I showed y'all last summer, I think it was, year before that, when the War and Treaty came to the Hollywood Bowl and they had Southern Soul at the Hollywood Bowl. I was sitting there on the 10th row. Gotta go through the archives, brother. But let's stay on topic.
We erased and took away the future artists' ability to make it to the places and the plateaus we made it to. See.
Let me go back a little before that. I'm gonna go back a little before that. What Manny was saying, then we're gonna get into it.
Have that mix no more where you just
Tribe
like,
Called Quest, all that shit.
Yeah.
Because
let me see here.
RNG to Daz, Daz, the when I met you last night, baby.
Daz did a lot of that Tupac shit.
You don't hear that. That sound went away, and we knew what a West Coast sound sounded like, and all of that played down south on the radio.
Yes.
East Coast, West Coast, down south.
Yes.
And we was like we was acceptable. We was acceptable to all of that. And now you don't have that mix no more. Where you
Tribe
just
Called Quest, all that shit.
Yeah.
Because these people look, and there ain't no disrespect to nobody. I'm just gonna say it like this: when we walked ourselves into a streaming platform, we erased and took away the future artists' ability to make it to the places and the plateaus we made it to. See, if they had never been able to get a group of us to go in and do that, then I think that the music itself would have stayed growing. Once they took us and put us inside of that streaming.
If you go back to the late 2000s, there were a lot of artists that had gotten together and pushed and encouraged the streaming. That's Gipp's point of view. I think it's larger than that. From my opinion, it's larger than just the streaming. That goes back to the Telecommunications Act when they took out regional sounds. But this is the part I want to get to what Gipp's about to talk about. The part I want to talk about is coming up. I just wanted to give y'all kind of the back part. The part I want to talk about is coming up right here.
You kind of like took away the soul of the music, because what you did was you said, I'ma pay these people in this circle everybody else food.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody else there.
And he's also low key talking about Tidal. Y'all remember when Jay-Z took over Tidal? Y'all remember that, right? And Jay-Z was like, no, we gonna do it over here. This is black owned. Remember he had Prince y'all remember, let's go back in history. Do y'all remember when, right before Prince died, Prince had a major issue with Jay-Z because Prince had put all of his music on Tidal, but it wasn't coming back the way Jay-Z made it sound. And there was that's one of Nicki Minaj's issues with Jay-Z, the Tidal situation. One of the main reasons why Jay-Z has so many enemies right now in hip hop is surrounding the Tidal situation. So Gipp, and I'm not putting words in Gipp's mouth, this is just my opinion on what he's talking about. He said you got the streaming situation, Tidal, and you basically made it to where a handful ate, and everybody didn't. And what that did was it took out the next Biggie. It took out the next Rakim through this new way of doing business. Sadu says, I'm from New York, so I can say it's because them boys who like boys was running the industry. Well, I'm not going to argue with you there. I think that's true in LA too. But yeah, he's talking about that. What's up, Brandy, in the chat? Yeah, Jay has a reputation of destroying black artists' career. Somebody said, what about Jay Prince, Baby from Cash Money, Suge Knight? Well, Suge Knight was in jail when all this time. No, he was out of jail. They had nothing to do with the Tidal thing. No, Suge was he back in jail? What are we talking about here? I think was Suge in jail? No, Suge wasn't in jail at that time. But let's keep going.
Yeah. And all I'm saying is that it's cool for those that's in that circle, but at the same time, I'm just like that's a little selfish, ain't it, New York? Like if you take it that way, that means we can't have no more Biggies.
Yep.
We can't have no more Snoops. We can't have nothing because nothing is gonna be built from the ground up like how we came. We came from the people accepting it, not some weirdo in the middle of America talking about this what we talking about. I'm talking about our neighborhoods and our communities.
Yeah.
They said, this the stamp. This is one. That was the most important stamp to us coming up. Like, does the city love it?
Yeah.
Do our people love it? Yep. But now, like, when you put music out, like Yoda told me last night, he said, Gipp, you know how many songs dropped last year? I said, no. He said, how about 250 million?
And that's what he's talking about, you know, it taking away a lot of your regions. If you notice, the last great hip hop new class was that? The class with Kendrick, Meek, and all them. You ain't really had much. Now the music has changed and you got cats like NBA Youngboy, but y'all know me, I don't classify NBA Youngboy as rap. NBA Youngboy is a country blues artist. I don't classify him in hip hop. The sound's actually moving beyond hip hop. That's why Southern Soul is so big. That's why NBA Youngboy is so big. That's why Travis Scott's so big. They're doing something different. Here in LA, the scene is more jazz, more live music, like it's always been. It's very, you know, and how it is out here, it's something different. R&B is getting really a lot bigger back out here. It's a young artist named Buddy, you know, Kenyon Dixon out here. R&B is really getting the foothold again out here. R&B and jazz. So the sounds are going back regional, and the genres are going back regional too, which, if you ask me, is a great thing.
And,
you know,
and to tell you the truth, it was exciting to me. Like the first time we went to LA, and we went on the radio run in the hoods. And I tell people, I said, bro,
this part right here, listen to what he's talking about. Now he's getting into talking about his relationship with LA. Appreciate the Cash App, James C. Webb. Appreciate the Cash App. This is what part I wanted to get to. And this is what music and all across genres needs to be at. When hip hop was at its best, he's talking about early Goody Mob, so we talking about the 90s. Listen to him talk about the open door access that he had when he came to LA.
We got to LA. You stayed by the airport? Somewhere in South Central, nigga.
Yeah.
With the door on the outside. You know, I said, and I'm telling Mo, like, you know, every time Mo pull up to LA, we at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I'm like, man, I ain't used to all this. $500 on my card, they're killing me.
Like, I gotta go back to where
I'm used to, man, the W, man. Take me back to the W, Mo. But I was telling people, like, I said, Mo, do you understand? Y'all are the St. Lunatics.
Yeah.
Y'all the first generation of rappers showed up in LA was staying in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Like, most of them didn't know what South Central looked like.
Yeah.
I was like, nigga, I've been all through South Central, rapped all in the projects and
I don't think
everything.
he ever had a reason to go over that way though.
He really did. The records were so big and so great during that time.
Share the donations,
And LA was
404.
accepting. You was big in LA.
Yeah,
You,
very big, yeah.
Nelly.
But we still did groundwork there.
and
I went
Jock.
to LA and walked around all the way through the hood.
You did.
Yeah,
You
I had
did.
it, yeah. So
He got some Grape Street friends that come to
that's
everything.
been my friend since that day. Since the first day I promoted.
This is what I like about this part. They talking about, a lot of shit's been gentrified now. But you talking about Juvie, I mean, you talking about late 90, 99 through 2001, 2. There was absolutely no gentrification at this point. This is when the hood was still exactly the hood. And there was a hell of a lot more black people in the hood back then than it is now. This is even before Watts had a bunch of, Watts had Mexicans, but not to the rate of it's had over the last 10 years. Listen to this. Appreciate that, Fila, for the 10 gifted memberships. Much appreciated, Fila 404. Malik Baird, appreciate the Cash App. Listen to Juvie talk about this, because usually when you hear about LA, everybody talking about something, ooh, the gangs, I was driving. Man, you had to check in. And all that bullshit. Listen to him talk about the exchange of love.
He like got Grape Street out there looking for.
You know what's funny? They done already hit me up already about this.
Like, goddamn, Juve, every time we come here, I'm like, it's about 1,500 dudes out there talking about where Juve is.
Bro, that was one of the first places they took us was Jordan Downs. I got a picture.
Yeah, that's my spot.
And
yep, you got it right.
They pulled up to Jordan Downs, and we had one of our partners.
They gonna say, "What's up, homie?
Yeah.
What's up?"
He had on his name was D. He had on a red shirt, and I remember they got out in the LA and he said, "Hey, bro, I don't think you should stay in the car." Stay in
Good idea.
Yeah, stay in the car. Yeah, you know what I mean? So he was like, "Yo, Goody Mob is signing in the middle. They like a middle part of the projects in Jordan Downs. We gonna sign autographs in the middle of the projects.
It's like a little park.
It's like a little park. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't show y'all that in the map because Jordan Downs has been knocked down. They've knocked the Jordan Downs down, so they no longer exist. So I can't show y'all on the map.
So we walking down in the park. It was just open. They had their doors open, shirts off, pistol sitting in the belt line, like,
"What's up, homie?
What's up? What's up?"
Yeah.
And I mean, we got down there. It was like, we fuck with y'all and Tupac, cuz y'all got God in your music. You ain't had God in your music. You just be old gangbanging us. But he said, since y'all put God in y'all music, fuck with y'all. And we was always cool with Grape Street after that.
Yeah.
You heard that? He said that one of his early stories, we talking about Goody Mob, now we talking 94, 95. 96, maybe, sometime in that area. Because he said they're talking about Pac, as if Pac, at the time Pac was still living. So we probably talking about 94, 95, 96. And this is definitely before a bunch of Mexicans got to that Jordan Downs. There was nothing but black folks in it then. Yeah, he's talking about, even the gangster said, we fuck with you because you got more than just the gangster shit. Remember I told y'all a long time ago, the appetite for music wasn't, even in the most gangster environments, wasn't always gangster this, gangster that. The LA I grew up in the 80s, you was just as likely to hear the gangsters that had rollers. Y'all remember when niggas had rollers in their hair? And you knew niggas that had rollers in their hair in the 80s or Jerry curls still in the 90s, you didn't fuck with niggas that had rollers in their hair. All them niggas that had rollers in their hair and Jerry curls, they were just as likely to be playing Rodney O and Joe Cooley as they were to be playing Anita Baker. You were just as likely to hear both. That's why when it comes to when I do my teachings on hip hop history, it's always taught as hip hop rap music being a child of rhythm and blues. Because when the genre was in its golden era, you listened to both.
Street showed me so much love, bro. I ain't lying. So much love. They used to pop up when I was over there by Suge, bro. And I was like, of course I'm not in the gang, so I ain't really understand. Suge be like, bro, I was like, bro, my bad, but I didn't know they was gonna come over here like that.
I did.
They used to be coming over there. Like, what's up, Suge? What's up?
Yeah.
What's up? Oh man, here we go.
I learned the Great Street is, hey man, they the grind.
They're different kind of breed,
They one
brother.
of the grimiest sets in LA, bro.
Different kind of breed, bro. You go over there playing. You see that purple. When you see that purple, recognize the real, bro. Recognize the real.
What you got?
Go ahead.
What you got going on for 2020?
So I'm just really just showing you, you know how he said, right? The LA gang man used to work out the funk back in the day, right? They'll be playing Cameo with the bench press on the front porch. Go back to Friday. I remember how Craig had his dad Pops, they had the bench press on the front lawn. That was big back in the 80s and the 90s. Niggas had they workout equipment on the front line, not the back line. And cats would be working out to Zapp and Roger. Like I remember all the cats would they had a scarf on their head and rollers in their head, and they be that was just what it was. But I want to go to this last part. I want to go to this last part. What Gipp was talking about. I'm going to go to this last part because this is funny to me.
If there's anybody in your life or in your world that you want to apologize to, we don't need to know the backstory or how it happened or what happened or whatever. But if it's anybody that's something that's not going to incriminate, land you in court or somebody saying, he said it. But if it's somebody that's important to you that you want to apologize to, go ahead, have at it.
I apologize for the things that I may say that may rub New York wrong. And I don't mean no harm. Sometimes I think that people have got into this way of telling different stories or trying to rewrite history. And sometimes Gipp come off very harsh, like I didn't really, love New York. When I love everything about New York because New York is what we all studied. And New York gave us rap music. But I'm like, hey man, like them boys in the South did something too, bro.
Yes.
On top.
Yes. Yes, bro. Yes.
I got it right here.
Yeah.
Right here tonight.
Y'all definitely our blueprint.
My dog on the show, Big Gipp.
So that's right there, what Gipp just said right there. What Gipp just said right there. And personally, I'm not apologizing. And I know Gipp was, having fun. I did apologize in the past, but I'm telling y'all right now, I ain't apologizing. Cry 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. I'm not apologizing. I'm not. We went through we went through a whole year of Hip Hop 50, and it was nothing but a New York circle jerk. And now it's gotten to the point to where it was a video I was watching where they're talking about, it was somebody that posted a video of some Asian dude talking about immigrant contributions to America. And now, whenever you hear down this whole Trump thing is going on, and you hear all these immigrant contributions to America, hip hop is now categorized in that. Now, do y'all understand that? Oh yeah, upstate now Buffalo, y'all don't account, but upstate New York is not in this. You're right, especially Buffalo. Salute to Buffalo, New York, and what y'all got going on. But Gipp was just playing. But like me, I ain't apologizing for shit. What did I tell y'all before? They wipe a whole legion of legends away with one name, Kool Herc. The same way Christopher Columbus wipes away a whole story of the Americas. You don't know. First off, it's like, it's the same. Christopher Columbus and Kool Herc are the same person for the most part, except for Kool Herc didn't kill nobody. So I'm not on that level. I mean, on the way the story is told. The story of Kool Herc is no different than the story of Columbus. Columbus never even actually came to the United States. No one is actually, outside of the 50 people at that party, no one has actually heard of Kool Herc. Are there any videos of a Kool Herc party in 1973? Are there any tapes? We're talking about music here. There's nothing on tape. There's no video. When I say Barry White created the disco music, I can say, go listen to the song Love's Theme. That created the mold for disco melodies and chords. When I say Earl Young created the disco beat and the house music beat, I say, go listen to a song called The Love I Lost by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. And that's going to be the first time that you hear 4 on the floor laid down with the hi-hats coming up on the and beat and the snare dropping on the 2 and the 4. Give you that pss, 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 that sound, that undergirded disco moving forward. If I say James Brown started funk, I say go and listen to Papa Don't Take No Mess. Go and listen to these songs. And this is everything in music that I can teach you. I can tell you, this is who did it. This is how music sounded before they did that. And this is how music sounded after they did that. I can tell you, New York brought in stride piano, and stride was the bridge between ragtime and jazz. That happened in New York because there was a piano player named James P. Johnson who brought in this new style called stride. And he had contemporaries like Willie the Lion Smith and Fats Waller. And they brought in this new sound called stride. And then there was a black man when it came to big band out of New York named Fletcher Henderson. Fletcher Henderson is the one who created the way a big band is going to be arranged. Woodwinds on one level, that means flutes and saxophones. Those are woodwinds, not flutes. Clarinets. Clarinets and saxes, those are your woodwinds. Your brass on the next level. That was modernized by Fletcher Henderson. I can say when it comes to swing and the sound of swing, that was put together in Kansas City. When I can say bebop, that started in Kansas City, and you can go to Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, and they brought in this new sound called bebop. This is how music sounded before bebop. This is how music sounded after bebop. You can do that with everything down the line in music. Until you get to hip hop. Kool Herc is the only person on this continuum that gets credit And there's no evidence. There's no sheet music. When we say, I'm writing in my book about this man named James Hemingway, a black American musician out of Philadelphia that composed music in the 1820s and 1830s. I can show you newspaper clippings of this black artist selling out venues in around the country based on newspaper clippings in the 30s and the 40s, 1830s and 40s. I can show you his actual sheet music. And as I'm writing my book, every claim that I'm bringing you in my book, there is written and sonic evidence to prove it. The only thing that proves Kool Herc is what somebody said. But because that happened in New York, everybody gonna go along with it because y'all on some regional bullshit. Not saying that Kool Herc didn't do what he did. I'm sure the people are telling the truth that on that day he was mixing some records. Somebody was spray painting graffiti. Somebody was breakdancing. And somebody was mixing. I'm sure that happened, but it ain't no proof. And then you have conflicting stories from people in New York, like Grandmaster Flash, said that Herc wasn't the only one with a sound system. It was plenty of people with sound systems. The stories don't even come together. So no, I'm not apologizing for shit. Yeah, they told me they want to give this man credit for a whole genre because he brought a goddamn speaker to a party. That's what it comes down to. See, when you hear Columbus discovered America, you're not going to dive into the Pequot Wars, the Mississippian Wars, the Pontiac Wars, and all the wars that were going on here in the United States that gave way for the European to infiltrate, play both sides, and enslave the victims after warring nations within this country happened. But you're not going to get into the intricacies of that story because all you heard was Columbus showed up and then, hey, the Spanish came, the French came, and wouldn't you know, we got the United States. But as we see, this story has taken root worldwide. That Kool Herc brought us something that we already had in existence. So that means we have a lot of work to do to undo that story. That's all that means. That means we have a lot of work to do. And we gonna do the work. Yeah, Mr. Lucy. And that's the one thing I respect about Kool Herc. He just ain't saying nothing. They probably paid Kool Herc to just say nothing. And I'm okay with Kool Herc saying nothing. Because when he did talk, he said out of his own mouth that that the shit was already going down before he started right. When Kool Herc was talking, he wasn't going with the bullshit. So if anyone's had an issue with what I said, call in. 323-705-5150. This is what you get from New York. West Coast wasn't good either. All they gave us dysfunctional gangbang raps. That's not true, but let's just say it is true. You didn't have to follow us if your culture's that strong, did you? If all we gave you was gangster rap, then why didn't y'all just keep giving us more conscious rap out of New York? That was dope. You could have shut us down real quick. But no, you didn't shut us down with gangster rap because y'all followed our lead and then y'all came out with Biggie. He gave us more gangster rap. Then y'all came out with a rap label called Murder Inc. Guy had murder in the goddamn title. That's what it comes down to. That. And when you dealing with the 90s, West Coast music was just better than the East Coast music. They want to say, oh, we destroyed it with gangsterism. Okay. All you had to do was just stand in your square. Because let me tell you something. When here in the West, when we saw the South get hot with trap music, we didn't say, oh, now we gonna do trap too. We let the South have it. And T.I. and anybody from the South that was doing trap music had open arms and they're welcome back into the city. We didn't get jealous or follow and capitulate when the sound moved to trap. We didn't capitulate. We was like, nah, trap ain't what we do. We're gonna stick to what we do out here and still show love and appreciation for trap. Same thing with drill. Our culture was too strong. But New York, y'all jumped in the drill. And then when y'all jumped in the drill, y'all tried to claim it and say it's New York music. Knowing good and the hell well that shit come from Chicago. Chat room, y'all remember that? When some of them New Yorkers was trying to claim drill music? Like, no, that's Chicago music. Let know. But in LA and Oakland, California, our culture is strong. So when drill got hot, we didn't go around saying, well, we're going to do drill too. Knock it. Kendrick just stating this. When drill got hot, Chief Keef, all right. Nipsey, Kendrick, Absol, they just stayed in their pocket. Like, all right, cool. Real talk, raw feces, yeah. Pimp was on a bumper. That's why, like, there's nothing you New Yorkers can say to me about the West Coast, what we did wrong. Because at the end of the day, y'all followed. Diddy was just trying to be his own version and knock off Tupac. You heard everybody from Gene Deal on down talk about, and you saw the way Diddy dressed. The minute Tupac died, Diddy started dressing like Tupac. That dude was a fucking nerd. In college and shit. And then Tupac died, started dressing like, you didn't have to capitulate. That's what I always say. Whenever New York come to me and be like, well, y'all brought in gangster rap. All right. No, first off, we didn't. But we just made it good. And y'all didn't have to capitulate. Man, New York, y'all had X-Clan and y'all shitted on. Y'all didn't. All you had to do was just promote X-Clan more. I love X-Clan. All you had to do was promote Public Enemy more. Public Enemy was still around back then. All y'all had to do was say, nah, Biggie, we ain't doing that gangster shit. Man, we got Public Enemy. All y'all had to do is promote Tribe more. Most of you niggas act like Tribe didn't exist. And that's some of your best music. All you had to do is promote your artists that weren't like that. No, you didn't. You promoted Biggie because Biggie came with West Coast beats, with a gangster story. And then the minute he died, y'all promoted his mimic, Jay-Z, the gangster drug dealer. Y'all didn't have to promote Jay-Z and Biggie. Y'all could have, it was so many great acts coming out of New York in 95, 94. Y'all had a smorgasbord of acts to promote. Y'all had party rap. Y'all had conscious rap. You had soulful rap. You promoted. Don't blame the West Coast for that. Hell yeah, we bumped with X-Clan in L.A. Especially in Leimert Park. Man, you heard X-Clan, man, you would have swore Leimert up and down Degnan in Leimert Park. You would have swore that X-Clan was goddamn from damn Vernon and Western. Somebody said, New York? Copy? Nah, you just hating. The just hating generation, I told y'all, that's the dummy generation of America. They did copy drill from Chicago. Drill is Chicago music. Anybody that says, I'm calling it hating because I'm calling that out, well, yeah, New York copied out trap, crunk, snap, and drill. Right. Look at this person. This person said, but he hates on go-go, house, down south, and East Coast hip hop. Where have you been, Doreen Lee? Where have you? We've been talking for an hour now about the great relationship between the West Coast and the South. But I got somebody coming in saying, I'm always hating on, huh? This is why I don't deal with people who use terms like hating. Y'all not the best thinkers. Y'all just, and if you miss it, I'm not going to explain myself. I literally spent an hour talking about the relationship between the West Coast and the South, and I got someone commenting saying I hate the South. I ain't even mentioned go-go. Have I even mentioned go-go today? And me saying I don't like go-go, that doesn't mean hating. I don't hate go-go. I just don't like it. Wow. Do y'all see how much of a burden it is being a speaker? Being someone that gets to a microphone and talks? Do y'all see how hard this is? You can literally have a whole show talking about the good relationship between the West Coast and the South. I spent the whole hour talking about how dope the South is. And I get somebody in the comment section saying DeJuan's always hating on the South. We got to remember, man, in high school, there was a separate bus for the retards and separate classes, and the retards went to lunch at a different time and they got out of school early. So the retards never had to be around the rest of us. So the rest of us got to talk freely because there was not going to be any retarded people there to interrupt the conversation. The internet put us all in the same room. But regardless of that, back to what we were talking about, because, you know, Pimp C was talking for real. And you could tell he was speaking from his heart. Right, that's real talk. People is angry you can't have your own opinions now these days. Right. Bruh, the retard thing is real. And if you got an issue, call in. Look at this. Look at this right here. Let me see here. Look, he says, being from Detroit, NYC gave us J Dilla Yancey respect, but sometimes it felt like this because that sound didn't come from New York. And was Q-Tip who brought Dilla? It was Q-Tip. Yeah, J Dilla is somebody that doesn't get talked about enough. And if you weren't listening, earlier, I did a show on Saturday night talking about the bebop influence on J Dilla, how it got from bebop to the funk acid soul sound, and that funk acid soul sound is what Dilla, Q-Tip, Kanye, and the melodic rap, the conscious rap, that's an LA based, that comes out of LA based music that was created by bebop musicians. And right. So my family in Dallas, I love the South. If anybody come in and say I don't like the South, now I'm gonna tell truth about the South. When I say that all of our culture and music don't come from the South, that's not hating on the South. That's because I'm literally writing a book that can prove to you the Philadelphia, Boston, New York, now New York to a lesser extent because New York wasn't developed yet, but still New York, primarily Philadelphia and Boston. I can prove to you the Philadelphia and Boston cultural hub of Black American music before Mississippi was a state. That's not hating on the South when I bring that up. That's saying that no, the story is just bigger than what we've been told. And what's up, Star? Yeah, Far Side. Far Side don't really get enough credit. And I'm from LA, and I don't bring up the Far Side enough because even though the Far Side is from LA, and I love the Far Side, and I've been on the Far Side since day one, my preference between the two sounds has always been Tribe. And that's another reason why all of you people that just say I hate on New York, y'all can suck a dirty dog's dick, in my opinion. A furry, dirty dog's dick. Go suck it. Because I'm somebody that will talk about Tribe 10 times before I talk about Farside, and I like both groups. But for my preference, I'm more of a Tribe guy. I'm more of a Low End Theory. That Low End Theory was the perfect album to me. That was just a perfect album. I'm gonna listen to all a Tribe. I remember when they dropped that album back in 2016, out of nowhere after Phife died. Man, I was driving Uber back then in 2016. If you was in my Uber, only thing you was gonna hear in 2016 when Tribe dropped that album for about 3 months was Tribe. Midnight Marauders. One of my favorite Tribe albums was The Love Movement. A lot of people didn't like A Love Movement. That's probably one of my favorite. Yeah, Razzcast don't get enough credit either, right? I met Razzcast at a Farside concert. I was back when Farside was out here this past summer. I was backstage and Razzcast hosted it and opened it up. So the fact that I know none of that shit exists in my heart, that makes me be, I can freely tell the truth. And I know that when I hear people come in and they reduce what I'm saying to, oh, you just hating on New York, that's you just probably somebody that don't listen clearly. And there's nothing that I can say. If you don't listen clearly, nothing I can do. And if you're caught in your emotions, nothing I can do. I'm gonna show y'all something. I'll be back in give me like 30 seconds. I'm gonna be right back. Niggas be like, you hating on New York. Let me show y'all something. I just thought about this. You know, like when I'm in a wedding, or you wear your suit or your tux. I'm the kind of person that wear J's with my tux. And it's only 2 pair of socks that I wear when I'm in my tux. I got my Nas socks. You see how great these motherfuckers. I mean, I done had these socks for. I wore these same socks as best man in 2 different weddings. Illmatic. I got my Illmatic socks. I ain't even got no Ice Cube socks. And I got Midnight Marauder socks. And they be like, oh, you just hating on New York. You just hating on New York. No, you dumb fuck. I'm calling out a problem. And it's a problem when, like what Gipp was saying, Gipp didn't pull that out of his ass when he talked about there's a bigger story to be told. Pimp C didn't pull that out of his ass when he talked about there's a bigger story to be said. I'm just the motherfucker that's here to help tell the story. Malik Barrett, I appreciate the Cash App. I'm just somebody that can articulate the story. And if you ain't one of the ones causing the problems, get the fuck out the way or help me tell the story. Highlight the greatness of everybody. If you notice, my mission in hip hop is the same mission I have all over. What do I do when I talk about any kind of music? I'm always highlighting the people that don't get the credit. You follow my Instagram, I'm highlighting the producers. I'm talking about the arrangements. I'm not talking about what's popular. If you see me post a Earth and Fire album that I'm listening to, I'm talking about Verdine White's bass play. I'm talking about Skip Scarborough's writing. If you see me talking about Parliament Funkadelic, I'm bringing up Junie Morrison on keys. I'm telling y'all how Bernie Worrell was classically trained. I'm always teaching about the people that you ain't never heard about. The fuck make you think I'm gonna be any different when it comes to hip hop? I'm always gonna speak for the person that don't get. I believe in people, the gods of our music. These people, these people who get, and I call them the musicians, the real ones, the Big Gipps, the Tupacs, the Cubes, the Chuck D's, the Grandmaster Flash, the ones who the gods, who get transmission from spirit, and they listen to their spirit, and they play what come through their spirit. I want to give them some love. The people who wrote the James Carmichaels of the world, who wrote the greatest string and horn arrangements that wrapped our music in, in beauty. Leon Ware, the Sweeteners, like Mark Scarborough said, around the music, the horn players, your Andrew Woolfolks, McCoy Tyners of the world. And I was just doing a post that last week about Fred Wesley and how, Fred Wesley was a bebop musician, Somebody said, how long are you going to call out a decades old problem? For decades. That's not a smart question. If it's a decades old problem, shouldn't it take decades to call it out? Or should I address a decades old problem one time and keep moving on? People don't fucking think. And black people not getting the proper credit for our music is a centuries old problem. Correction, correction, correction. Centuries old problem. It's not a decades old problem. It's centuries old. So I hope somebody come up after me to continue to call out the problem for a few more centuries until it's corrected, right? Don't ask me how long I'm going to call out a problem. Ask yourself, how long is this problem going to exist? And what am I going to do to help? If I care that much, what am I going to do to help minimize the problem? That's what you do. Don't turn your attention towards me. Turn your attention to the problem if you want to solve something. That's what I did. Everything that I do right now on the internet is me turning attention to a problem that I've seen, because no one else would do it. So I said, I'll do it. He said he need to take that belt and whoop his own ass for asking that question. Our niggas are stupid in the chat. What's up, Devin Nicole? Yeah. Oh, it's Pete Rock. Oh, I got something for Pete Rock. Pete Rock has been, I ain't gonna say that. I had a show I was gonna do on Pete Rock, but I'll wait. Pretty soon Pete Rock gonna say some out of pocket shit real soon. So I'll wait to do that Pete Rock show till the next time he says something stupid. That's coming real soon. So yeah, well, this is what we do here at the channel. We're cleaning up the history. We're cleaning up the history. Somebody said it doesn't take decades to make a point. No, it does. Matter of fact, it takes a lifetime to make a point. When you make a point, you keep teaching on it. You keep talking about it. What should I do? Should I stop saying jazz is black? Because we've already proven jazz is black, and let's just move on and let somebody else on it. I said hip hop is black American one time. So although the lie that Kool Herc started hip hop is going to be in the museum, in the hip hop museum in New York, although at least once or twice a month we have Fat Joe, we got Pete Rock, we got Busta Rhymes, we got people on video saying hip hop is Jamaican. Although on TikTok, every day is people saying hip hop is Jamaican. This happens every day. DeJuan, you made your point one time, move on. I'm just going to sit here and be quiet and let you listen to how dumb you sound. That's what it is. They recognize the knowledge is just contrary to what they want to believe. Right. And if you don't want to hear me talk about it, that's fine. It's certain things that it's people I listen to on YouTube all the time. And every now and again, some of my favorite channels touch topics that I don't necessarily want to hear. So you know what I do? Oh yeah, I don't want to hear them talk about this shit. I'll holler at them on the next live. I go live twice a day. Jerry said they go to church every Sunday and hear the same scripture being repeated over and over. Right. Appreciate that, Black Polo. Fighting the right fight. Yeah. It's got to be very clear. The lies are coming at us every day. The lies are coming to us every day. And somehow I'm supposed to tell the truth one time and then go on to talking about the war in Afghanistan. Okay. Yeah, through the CL Smooth. I'm gonna do a show on CL Smooth because Pete Rock did CL Smooth wrong. I heard Pete Rock on Fat Joe's show talking about, he felt CL Smooth was just jealous. Did y'all know that Pete Rock called the police on CL Smooth? I didn't know this like 3 or 4 years ago. Funk Master Flex brought it out. Pete Rock called the police on CL Smooth for selling merchandise at their own show. You called the police on your partner? According to Funk Master Flex, you called the police on your people? Pete Rock? We're going to talk about that. Yeah, but if you go to my music university, going back to what I was saying earlier about the melodic sound that Pete Rock, Q-Tip, Kanye, and those producers sampled, that was a sound born in LA by way of bebop that was born out of Kansas City. Donald Byrd, Roy Ayers, Bobby Humphrey, these were bebop musicians. And when the sound changed after Bitches Brew, basically Miles Davis changed bebop and hard bop. He changed the bop sound forever with Bitches Brew when he brought that electricity to it. The electric guitar, electric bass, Michael Henderson on bass for some of that stuff. After Bitches Brew, Michael Henderson. The electric guitar, all that. When that came, that ushered in a new sound. Sounds like Weather Report, Chick Corea's Returning Forever. But Weather Report and Chick Corea Returning Forever stayed on the more bebop, electric fusion, jazz sound. And the sound that went the other direction was Herbie Hancock, Donald Byrd, Roy Ayers, George Duke, Lonnie Liston Smith, out of Virginia by way of who recorded in New York. But it was really the Mizell brothers, Skip Scarborough, Donald Byrd, here in LA, Johnny Hammond Smith. They recorded here in LA this new sound. Acid, jazz fusion, funk fusion. And it's that sound that a lot of your melodic hip hop that Q-Tip and those guys were doing, that sound comes directly out of B-sides recorded here in LA. Black Polo, appreciate the super chat. You heard a lot of stuff like this in hip hop. Think twice. A lot of that sound for your melodic, a lot of your melodic comes out of this sound. But you're gonna have to go to the music university to get great details over on Patreon. No rap did not come from the South. Black Americans have always rapped. You're right. Pete Rock used that. Exactly. See what I'm saying? Pete Rock used that. The whole melodic sound, that's the LA sound. The early 70s, the Blue Note Records. Mizell Brothers produced all that. We've been rapping, but rap didn't come from any region. Rap came from Black America. We've rapped as long as we've been singing. The James Brown pocket is what gave rap music its formula to thrive. But we were rapping long before that. This nigga said Pete Rock is a dirt cookie tether. I said Roy Ayers. I mentioned Roy Ayers was the first name that I mentioned. Yeah, I just played 3 songs from, that's just off one album by Donald Byrd. That's just off one album. And y'all need to go back to the interview I posted this past Saturday. I interviewed Mark Scarborough. His father, Skip Scarborough, was also in on the production of that sound. And we talked about the roots of that sound. Go check the interview out. Like, that shit only got like a couple hundred views. YouTube be hating on my interviews. YouTube or I don't know, yo niggas, or maybe you niggas just ain't interested in my interviews. I don't know. I might just keep the interviews completely on Patreon since YouTube don't really appreciate the motherfuckers. But I interviewed Mark Scarborough, son of Skip Scarborough, and he talks about being in the studio when a lot of these songs were being created. And these are the songs that went into a lot of your hip hop. Yeah, by Jamal. Yeah. I wasn't it. A lot of that sound was taken from this. That's where a lot of that stuff comes from. That's where a lot of your melodic hip hop comes from. But I'm about to get up out of here, y'all. If something happens that pisses me off between now and tonight, I'll be back on the late night live. So salute to Pimp C, salute to Big Gipp. People ain't pulling these stories out their ass, y'all. We gotta call this stuff out because there's a lot of greatness. There's a lot of greatness that was done around the country that's gonna get wiped out with one name. Kool Herc. And we can't let that happen. We need Pimp C. We need the Dungeon Family. We need Eazy-E. We need all these people. Jay Prince, Willie D, Scarface, Ghetto Boys, Too Short. We need everybody's story to be acknowledged and told and put into the mix. But if you only gonna tell one story and keep telling one story, I'm your Huckleberry. And I ain't apologizing. Y'all just gonna make me study harder and get deeper into my information to make sure I'm already 1,000% sure I'm correct. I want to get 100,000% sure I'm correct. So I'm just gonna keep studying and I'm just gonna keep going harder. All right. Y'all have a good one. We out.